Hello and welcome everybody. Hope you guys are back to watch us here with this B2 matchup. PO's had to leave us as we kind of mentioned before. And so on the call with me now is our director actually for the last broadcast of this one, Harrison. Harrison, nice to see you.
Yes, good to be here. I escaped from the cupboard just a little bit in order to commentate instead of, being stuck in the broadcasting room, the cupboard, as we call it. Um,
well, well, you could say you could be in the cupboard, like for us.
I'm I,
For
I'm I'm I'm
us
sticking
we're
my
talking about
arms
being in.
in to kind of, adjust it, but I'm in the kitchen now technically, so we're
Well,
cooking.
I was just saying, like sometimes when people talk about being in a broadcast booth, sometimes they talk about themselves being in like a closet, depending on where they're at,
I
especially when
mean,
you're
see,
sports and stuff like
we
that.
had a lot of upgrades to the broadcast. We had a lot of commentators, a lot more players. So we had to downgrade from the closet to the cupboard last season.
Oh
So
no!
yeah, so me and Nathaniel have been kind of switching out there. There's snacks. That's the upgrade. It's nice. The space is less, but you got crackers and stuff, so you're good. What an exciting two games it's been so far tonight, though. Really just nice, slow, defensive, very drawn out games for the first, and then the second one, just some absolutely explosive plays that unfortunately Eric just kind of found himself at the wrong end of every time. But really exciting to see the battle that took place, especially for the first spot and just holding positions in the second game.
Yeah, unfortunately, I think that's just kind of been uh, it's kind of just been a struggle for Eric after winning the Beta League. I'm not. I think he's still trying to find his footing, and I think he's finally back on his feet, and I think I think we'll see him start to go back up the divisions again. But
Yeah. And with
um,
4 games to play too, it's completely different than the league because it's if you have a bad game to start and then you're playing catch up, it's do I just take this third or fourth that's an okay third or fourth for the second game in a row and hope that I just pop off with the next two? Or do I play riskier, chase more value, and just hope it works out so I'm closer to start the second half? And it's
remember though,
such a slog,
yeah, but remember at the same time, Eric does have the experience because he did win
Yeah.
the Beta League, and the Beta League was taking the four pool champions and then putting them into a four-game playoff because we didn't have an A1 division at the time. So he definitely has some experience with it. We'll just see. We'll see if that comes into play here in these final two games.
Yeah.
Um, I was joking with Po after the broadcast. It's like I think that what I was trying to get to, what I was trying to get at is that I was kind of needing like Huang's playing differently. Was there a change I didn't know about? And no, just takes off just takes off the costume, and nope, he's just the same old Huang with the
Yeah, Huang's been playing the
right
long
in there
game.
too. So
Huang's been smurfing and playing disguised for all league seasons just so he can really pull it out for the championship.
I mean, just for like these two games, right? It's like, oh well, it seems like he's playing standards. Like, there's nothing really that explosive out of him, and then just just out of nowhere,
Ease him into a false sense of security. It worked out. Huang's doing real well.
so. And as we mentioned before, they have not scheduled the last two games. Kenyon is playing in the Vortex Gallery top 32, so it might be a little while before we figure out when those last two games are going to be played. But whenever that comes up, we'll let everybody know, and
Oh yeah, if you're following the
it'll
socials or the Discord or anything, everybody's gonna know. There will be probably
be a
multiple
can't miss
pings.
broadcast for sure.
Oh yeah. But let's talk about the B2 games we're going. We're at B2 table 2 start of the second half. So now we're starting to get into the latter end. Games are going to start to add or matter just a little bit more, and people are going to have to start really playing towards the position they want to be for this division. And a really interesting table we have actually, because we have Chris L, Andrew, Christine, and Stanley. Christine and Stanley being three or two of the bottom four. Andrew being pretty close, and Chris not being positive either. Obviously, with like promotion and demotion, it's going to wiggle a little bit, but now these players are really going to have to start thinking, what can I switch up to push myself out of the demotion range to stay in B2, right?
Right, and I know you've had this is your division, so you
Yeah.
definitely can say to how how these players have played if you've matched them before. I know
Hmm.
from personally between from both of us actually, we know that Stanley has uh, he definitely has a certain way of playing his game, and unfortunately for him, as far as I can tell, it just hasn't worked out early on.
Yeah, from kind of from what I've gathered from everybody, I know Christine especially when I played my Hanshans against her, she seemed to really
Home.
like to push. She was very, very aggressive on the table, and it didn't happen to work out in our series. Chris L, more of the same way, except Chris just kind of always had value in the hand, and maybe the trade-off wasn't quite as defined as some other players would like it to be to push, but Chris really, again, liked to challenge reaches, challenge some other stuff whenever there was some value in hand. And then I don't have too much on Andrew or Stanley. I know Stanley likes to play what I like to call the robotic mahjong, very to the book, very standard paper mahjong, but who knows? Andrew L2 can't say that I've played them yet, or I don't quite remember, but that's why we're watching these games. We gotta see, get some info
All
going.
right. And as we've already seen while we've been kind of introducing the players here, Stanley, as first dealer, has called the tunes. It'll just look for 1,500 points, it looks like. Does have a Ryokan weight. Would probably want to fill that for their Tenpai. Looking
Yeah.
around the rest of the table, I mean, okay, Christine has would have may have possibly entertained some Daisangan thoughts until the tune was called.
Yeah.
We'll probably at least settle for double Yakuhai if nothing else.
Double Yaga, maybe not
Um,
even double Yakuhai. You get like 6 mon or 5 mon, and you're ending on a Ryanmen. It's a very quick reach. You can kind of catch some people off guard. Not a
True,
whole
but
lot of
also
points, but
yeah,
something.
with no Dora though, and actually we do
Home.
see one now with Stanley being discarded. Now it's actually visible because Chris has now called the Dora, so we have a Mongon to our left here,
Yeah, Chris is
and
looking
that
real scary. That is
is
not quite
Ishanten
Tenpai.
at this point.
That's so awkward. Three. You know what? I kind of actually like that 3P cut because if you cut doubles, I mean, obviously waiting on the sixes kind of sucks either way. But the benefit to this place is you do have the toy upgrade,
C.
which is kind of greedy. But if
Oh,
especially
but
you can get the
this is
last
gonna
hit,
pay
you
in now though,
Paimon.
unfortunately.
Yeah, the four is gonna be
If
real
somehow they
ugly
get
to get
Tenpai, they'll
out.
deal in.
Oh, and
Well, actually, they'll
Christine
deal.
Dama too.
Well, yeah. So Chris is not going to get away from this hand. I don't think.
Yeah.
With that 3-pin discard, it's pretty much guaranteed that they're
Home.
going to deal in.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot they can do. The only thing I could think of is maybe playing like 5
Sumo.
Pina in the hand, but it doesn't matter. Christine Damasumos. Completely agree with that. Got both Yakuhai, completely missed the green draw, so that was actually kind of a big hand. A lot of foo
Yep.
in it too.
So Christine there with 5,200 and the early lead. I'm looking at the percentages here, and yeah, I mean, her dealing percentage is actually the lowest out of all of them. 15% isn't exactly low per se, but given the win and deal in values, I think the reason why Christine might be having some issues is that her win rate's just not high enough. So like her EV is certainly positive, but with the win rate as low as it is, she's probably suffering sumo losses, and that's what's hurting her at this point.
You know, now that you mention it, I do remember that from the Hanshan. Christine was very safe, but I think instead of what I said at the beginning, she was actually very defensive, and it almost kind of backfired. Almost playing safety to the point where she wasn't able to get that big game, those one or two nut hands to carry her over and get a first to add to it.
So here we are in South 2. Christine, again with the lead, has, I was going to say, has the Yakuhai South, which she's
I was
now
gonna
just called.
call it. I mean, you have double Dora in hand. Like it
Yeah.
feels like the smart decision. You have a Toy upgrade there. It's kind of tough. Maybe if you can get like a 3-so out for some reason, call it, and then you can trail with the 4, take the last 9 if it comes. But I'd imagine
I
you're gonna
think
play
more.
pretty standard.
I think more than likely you're probably gonna get something like the 2-5, so you'll just call twice that way to get to your tempai.
Yeah.
That's probably what's more likely going to happen. Although if Andrew does draw
Ooh.
the 2-so, they'll certainly use it. Never mind, there's a 4-so over there. So now certainly the Toy push is more of a viable thing at this point.
Yeah, but 6-9 is gonna be so hard to get out. Only 1-9 left, and then it looks like double 6, or no, one more 6 too. So that could actually kind of take Christine out of the hand if she relies too heavily on it. You get one buried in the wall, and then maybe like Andrew draws the second 6, and all of a sudden your hand's dead.
With the 8-pin discard though on the second row there, I think it's just going to be that much harder. And now Christine can flex over to 2-3, like 2-3-3-4-5 or 2-3-4, something like that, and
Yeah.
get tempai that way. You're still waiting on 6-9, but at least you can get to your tempai that way too.
Yeah, at least you got it guaranteed.
Oh, speaking of that 4-so,
I'm a
if Christine
4.
has, oh, that's okay. So the 7-pin's not going to be useful.
Ooh, 6 cents going
Okay, so
on.
so now, yeah, she's not going to. She's not paying in now for sure.
Yeah, that'll be
Because
good.
that was the risk of holding the 5-so, was that if she got another chi or something like that extra 4-so would have been dropped. But that is not the case anymore. And so Andrew is gonna try to beat him, beg and plead for that last 4-so wherever the heck it is.
Interestingly, Stanley doesn't like the state of the board, or at least doesn't like that 7-so. Gonna keep a 4-mon in hand, maybe looking for Itsu as a value upgrade, but it does
I don't
seem a
think it's.
bit rough.
I,
Oh,
I don't
just
think
drop
it's
four
Itsu. I
mon.
think they were looking for something like Chanta-ish, or actually no, Sansoku. It's pretty much Sansoku at this point.
That's what I thought.
Yuichi here for
Yeah,
Sanshoku Dora
there you
1.
go.
You are
Yeah.
waiting on the Dora.
Oh, does the 5 get braved by Andrew? I can't
Well, he
imagine. I think you
discards it.
discard the 2, right? Yeah.
Yeah, you could still discard the 5, but like it wasn't going to deal it anyways. Because I don't think the 2 is that much safer, really.
No, the 5 probably arguably worse. Well, there's that 2 out. 9 backfires a little bit, but Christine trying to work towards Tempai again. Is able to call like an
Yeah.
8-pin and then check the
Well,
6-mon.
we'll have to. I mean, she'll have to call the 8-pin really, because otherwise she'll be sitting for a 10.
I mean,
And
with
that's the
4
most ideal
draws
thing,
left
right?
though, you're just looking for Ryukyoku. Oh no,
Yeah.
that pawn!
Wow.
Oh, that's such a giant hand. Oh, dodges the error though, so only a Mongon, but still very scary.
I think considering how Stanley's games have gone this season, I'm sure very happy to see that 3-so finally come and
Oh yeah, that's an
pay off
absolutely
there.
massive ham. Even especially on the sumo, or there, I guess the run with the rule set is still Mongon regardless. Christine,
So,
not a great high pie.
and I was about to say that nobody else's really is, but and Chris's hand actually doesn't look all that bad, and is
Chris's hand is
actually
shaping up
Ishan 10.
very, very quick.
Oh,
Yeah,
wait, that's expensive. That could be expensive over there.
expensive. Oh yeah.
Tanyao, Pinfu, Sanshoku.
Tanya Pifu's, yeah, if that 6-0 gets in hand, that is going to get real scary for everybody. Even, nah, I think 9-0 probably gets thrown before 6-0 in pretty much every situation. So I would imagine that Chris has to draw 6
you'd want to
with
confirm it.
Sanshoku.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you definitely want to confirm it.
You think you Dama before you reach? You don't have any Dora in hand. People know you're not playing it already. Ooh, Ipeko, hold on. Honestly, I say drop 3-4 here. You think that's a
It
bold
doesn't really
play?
cost you in terms of efficiency. Yeah.
Yeah, try to get Ipeko for the extra out. Does that get you, if you get Pinfu, Ipeko, Tanyao? That's Dama Mangan if you can hit 6-0. Wait on 6-8. Double Dora, you know the
Can
board's
anybody keep up?
devalued. I mean, hey,
Oh,
Stanley's making a try for it.
yeah.
Stanley's hitting some
Stanley's
draws
Ishan
right now.
10.
Ishan 10, although might get stuck waiting on Dora 4-peen, kinda ugly with 2 Dora out, but that just means Stanley knows one person's not playing it, possibly 2 others as well, because it is 1p, it is clunky.
There's a third one.
Yeah, now it's a bit tough. But hey, here's the thing. Why would you reach 1-4 when you see 3 of the door out? Only a madman would do that, as I like to say, and then reach on that exact madman call. Does it work? Sometimes. Oh, but Christine's fighting back, and that is Ishan 10 still. I'd imagine Forso gets cut. Nope. Just gonna
Yeet.
kill the 3.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so this is Ipeko. This isn't confirmed Sanchoku, but at least you have the
Ooh.
Ipeko.
Ooh. There's only 1-9 out, so we could also see a Sumo to make up. It's only half the points of the Sanshoku, but it's something. There's
Well,
still
they're
1-6 in the well, too.
They're down to 3 tiles, so there's 1 6 and 2 9s left.
Oh, but all of a sudden we got a Dama from Christine. 4-7, so sneaky, sneaky.
Oh, let's see here. The 4s.
Gonna have to
There's
brave
no
that.
4s left. There's no 4s left, and there's only 1 7 left. So we're looking at what was that, 2v1?
Yeah, that sounds
Is it
about right.
2v1?
Oh, and the
no!
knight comes.
It's the cheaper. It's
the cheaper
side, but it's
hand,
still good.
so yeah, it's still good.
Any
What do we
error
got?
though makes it.
Oh, whoo, we lucked out with
So
that
30,
one.
so 3,900 only. It could have been disastrous.
3,900 in the reach 6. Yeah.
39.
You hit the Sanshoku side. You hit the some Ura. That could have been, I think, a Baimon, right? You hit good on the Ura with the Sanshoku.
If you hit the Takame side, yeah, it could have gotten expensive real quickly. And this hand, oh,
This is, I hate
It's
high
not-
pies like this. It's
Yeah,
so
you-
taunting. You want to go for it so bad, and you're dealer, so you're like, everybody has to respect it. But oh god, it's so far. It's such
No,
bad
that's-
shape to go for it.
yeah, you don't actually have any completed shapes here. So, and worse yet, you're sitting on 4 pairs. I don't think I would hate to see another pair here and then have to decide have to be like, do I really have to go for Chitoi here? Because you're right. Monzu, it looks like there should be something else there, but you have it's basically three different shapes: 1 1 2, 4 4 5, 7 7 8. So Chris is just opting to try to make something out of this.
And while you were talking about that, Christine is already in Tenpai. Currently waiting on 7 so with a not quite a Hanemon, I believe Mongon. Is it guaranteed Mongon? Yeah, guaranteed Mongon. And with this red call, could also wait on the Dora Tonki. So now we're thinking about Hanemon.
Triple Yakuhai, Honitsu, Dora 2.
I believe that's 7, right?
That is 7.
Yeah, gonna be really hard to get the 8th, but do you really care? That hurts a little bit, but if you hit the Hanemon, who cares? Although, oh, wow, Chris is getting close. Oh no! Stanley doesn't sense the danger!
But Andrew.
There was Andrew, yeah. Oh, I mean, there was a lot of Sozu thrown, but when someone's opened up that much and it's like any Honitsu is kind of viable, it's a big risk.
You have to. The Dora ends up becoming way too dangerous, unfortunately.
Yeah. Even though Sozu gets thrown,
it's going to certainly increase that 17.1% win rate at this point. Does have the lead at 40,300, but Stanley is not that far behind, and it's his dealership entering South 1. Does the shapes don't necessarily? I mean, I guess
I
there's something to be
don't.
worked on, but
Yeah,
you
see,
have
with the
so
5, you're straight.
you have to draw
You're good.
you have to draw something. So they managed to draw it. I was gonna say.
No, you're completely fine from this. The other thing is, even though you're ending towards a Shabo, you're ending on a double terminal Shabo, and like while you don't have Dora, people have to respect or push against your dealer reach, and if they push, the chances of them dealing in at least one of those terminals is so high that I think you're more than comfortable. You just want to get to Tenpai from this.
Yeah, the double terminal or honor Sean Conway is like it could either be a curse or a blessing because it could be that somebody will just discard it out of hand because it's just like I don't need it, or
Hmm.
somehow it just never shows up and you're just wondering it's like this should be an easy wait. Why am I not
Oh,
getting
yeah, or do that. That's the other option. Draw a
it?
third. I was gonna say you also have 1 so, 2 so as dig outs, and then you just wait on 6 9 so, but only problem is now we got. Oh, never mind. I thought that was Tenpai. Christine really trying to
No,
work towards
Christine
that
would have
Tonki on
taken
the
the
north.
Tempai. Yeah, could have had the Tempai had they decided to drop the North. Would have just been a 7 so wait.
Nah,
Um,
nah. We
yeah,
chase
is
value on this table. We chase value. That one
there's a
hurts, but who
7.
cares? Just chi that. Drop the 2. Yeah, wait on
Is
the
there a
north.
commit? There is a commit. Okay.
100% you commit here. There's still 2 to be drawn too, and they fit into nobody's hand. Oh, I completely missed that Tenpai. What are we working with here?
Yeah,
Three
so three
six.
six pin
It's pretty
for a
good.
possible Takame and the Sanshoku if they get the 3. There's only one live 3 pin left in the wall though, but there is still something there.
Ooh, Stanley decides to push. Stanley don't care one bit. Goes, I want this hand.
I mean,
Only
Stanley could have folded on the 2-1 mon, but
it's a little tough. Then you gotta throw out 1 so too, and it's like, it's actually not that bad. Now you gotta chase reach this.
I
One
mean, if
three
you
six.
were
If you're about it, you gotta. Yeah, if you're gonna push to that point, you gotta just test the waters. Oh, and Christine.
so Chris, without hesitation, drops that North.
It's
Not as
safe against the
expensive.
dealer. I mean, I think that's
Yeah,
what you got to do is Chris. You kind of just get stuck there. Even like nothing folding out there feels great. The only right play there was from the start to just back away from the hand, which doesn't feel great, and I don't blame the push. And then just kind of you're too open and nothing looks good, so you just have to play safe against the dealer and drop Dora.
well, Andrew Ishon 10 here on turn 3
Yeah, it's pretty good.
probably would just love the Dora, so you don't have to wait on Dora Suji. But
It is turn 3,
you
and your
can't
dealer. Who
you
cares?
can't you but you can't be a bigger chooser here. How does that saying goes? Anyways, they are
You're
going to win on
doing
this
fine.
line after all.
Ricci Pinfu, possible Dora 1. If you hit the Dora and then get your upgrades like an Ura or a Sumo, Misty Pots, but you get any of the upgrades and you're flirting with a Mongon, which you are more than fine taking at 10k. Especially when it's that quick too, everybody kind of has to really be careful and brick their hand in order to play safe around you this early. You're straight with
Uh,
this.
there
You're
really
hanging
isn't.
out.
Usually with an early Ricci like this on turn 3, usually the standard procedure, unless your hand just really really sucks, is to just play
To
normally
just ignore it, yeah. But
because you just don't have any information to come out of. And you could see that 9 pin come out of Christine's hand if her hand improves any further, because you're not expecting to have a Ryaman wait on turn 3.
you're
Usually
not
you expect
expecting
it to be
ramen. You're
some
also probably not expecting it on the reach tile that early, right? You're not expecting seven,
right.
eight, eight from this.
I mean, it'd be something that you'd want that you would have to consider, but at the same time, you're just kind of like turn 3. What are the chances, right? But I think again, you only see that um, if they actually get to their tempo. It might be one of the last tiles they discard.
Yeah, geez, and it seems like Christine just auto backs off this early. I agree with it. You have no Dora in your hand. You don't see any Dora. It's a dealer reach, so you have literally no idea what could be played. Oh, and Chris, yeah, keeps the tempi, checks the Dora, says what are the odds, and unfortunately not in their favor. Only 5,800, missed the Ura, but still, that is not something you want to be taking. Now threatened of swapping places to 4th, too.
Well, not only that, it's just like the gaps between all the places right now is except for third and fourth is fairly large, and so
Hmm.
with it being South Round, you know, you're probably trying to have to figure out if, especially if you're either Chris or Andrew, how you're going to try to make hay. They both have a dealership left, so there's always that. And
Yeah.
Andrew's obviously we're seeing him with his. There's possibilities for if they got the right tiles, you know, to have an Pinfu Itsu chance with here because they are looking for the 4-8, so they'd have to draw the 8 to get the Pinfu, but it's
Yeah.
possible.
That'd be really nice, but I think it's a little tough. And when you're dealer, you kind of just want to play efficient. You look at those points, you go, "Wow, that would be so nice. I can even call to open it." Which actually, I don't hate that. I think you definitely just drop green red here, sacrifice the safety, because if 4P comes out, you can snap call it, wait on the 8, worst comes to worst, and force it,
Yep.
especially with 2 9s. And then if the 8 comes, you can just pass it once. You have all these 7s, so it's probably not going to get used by anybody else. Or maybe it comes out again later. Ooh, that's an interesting draw.
Interesting, but I don't know what they're trying to do with that 3 mon because they've already discarded one on turn 2. So the only way this works is if they just draw it back,
Get like a
or
three-sided
somehow
or
or somehow draw the 2 or the 4. And even then, it's still a little questionable because you already see 2 1 mon discarded by Christine. So even if you end up thinking you're going to end up on a 1-4 weight, yes, they don't need it, but that also means that you're going to have less tiles to deal with. So it depends on how you look at that.
Yeah, I mean, there is something to say too that they could just be playing max efficiency, backing up a bit from what they were doing, and if they draw like the Formon and need head for the hand still, they'll just reach on it, hoping that it's enough to deter the table. But seeing how everybody's kind of been dealing in, I think you definitely want to keep Ron option open for pretty much anything that you're gonna play.
Stanley here, sitting Ishan 10, draws the Dora.
Stanley
We'll
and
hold on to it for now.
is Chris Ishan 10? Never mind. Chris is John Sean 10 without head right now. Now Ishan 10 without head. Bit clunky, but people are getting very quick hands across the table, and Andrew's completely slowed up.
Yeah, without the opportunity to call, it makes it a lot harder. Not that Stanley's actually given him tiles to call, and these form pin that are being discarded are just are slowly
Eat.
killing Andrew's
Oh,
hand.
don't do that, Chris. Come on. Tonky on the 5. What a madman. I mean, honestly, 8 that looks like an 8-6 cut from hand. So it doesn't look terrible with the 5, but it doesn't look good.
Well, the only issue with that is that if you read it as like a 6-8 with other Pinzu down the line, you could think that maybe they had
Oh
8-6, then
my
discarded 3-4 and was waiting for 2-5.
Silly
But
me,
it
I
doesn't
forgot to
matter.
read the wall. I forgot to read the wall. The Ura 2. It was right there in front of me, and I missed the plan. I forgot to read the Book of Plans. I do this every time, Edwin. I just simply forgot to look into the wall and see the Epot Sumo and the Ura hit for the Mongon. This is why I'm not getting... I might get B1, I'm not getting past there. I can never do that when I'm on the table.
So that Chris over 30,000 here heading into South 3.
That's such a giant hand.
Andrew's in a bit of a spot here, being the only person under 30,000 with 2 hands to go.
I mean,
Their current hand as it stands doesn't look like anything that'll get them a whole lot of value to start. So maybe you're just gonna have to hope for some type of Ricci Pinfu, and then maybe hit an Ura or 2, hoping that your pair hits.
I
So
mean, you
it's gonna be
got
a slog for this hand at least.
you got different options. If you can get Chris on dealership without them gaining, then you're fine. Pretty much any sumo will do it. And even if you can't get Mongon Sumo comfortably to bring people down, odds are either Stanley's going to go down below 30, or you can just pick something that you can Dama and not reach for value, and then just try to direct hit like Stanley or Chris. So it's not the worst thing in the world. Definitely a tough spot, especially when Christine is just building up this absolute killer of a hand. Already Ipeko options to Ramen to play off. The 9's kind of ugly, but has other honors that they can even Tonki wait on if they really want to.
Yeah, I wonder if I don't know if they were thinking about possible Honitsu because that 5-pin discard on turn 4
I
could have
think
been
that was
something
the
that was
thought,
useful,
and
but
then you went towards 3-4 and didn't pair up any of your honors, so you're just like, whatever.
it does help out a little.
I mean, this opens up
Because
like a
but
weird Tanya
you
option.
still don't have a pair yet. That's the thing.
I mean, this opens up
Unless
6-8, so Shabo is an end weight, which is
yeah,
kind of
it
bad,
does.
but it's something. Oh, there's the out.
Okay.
There's the out.
Wait a minute.
That's insane. You just drop the
So
9 and then you have Pinfu Ipeko
7.
Tanyao. Pinfu Ipeko Tanyao. It's actually not that much. It's only 3, right?
Well, wait a minute. Hold on. Yeah, you were tenpai. Now you are.
Were you Senpai?
You were no no you weren't. I'm just trying to figure out. I was trying to figure out the shapes here because I wasn't sure how you get there with the. Yeah, because the 9 set was extraneous. Like you're Yamen right now.
Yeah. Honestly, could just see this called too. It's getting a little late into the hand. Nope. We play value on this table, says Christine. Although everybody's kind of flirting around with Tenpai. Looks like Andrew's thinking about it, although headless. Chris in sort of the same chance. And Stanley with the nut straw. Now waiting on 3, 4, 6.
4 or 5. Or 3, 4, 6. Yeah, yeah. With the
Very
3 being the
disgusting.
more expensive
Oh,
side.
this has gotta. Yeah, Chris is trying to figure out something, but again, you just gotta play back. Oh, never mind. You knew that hand was nothing.
So not expensive. Well, I mean, it would have been something if the 3 mon was dropped, which it wasn't.
Yeah.
So that puts Stanley into
Stanley
a
a little
somewhat comfortable second. Could
no
still see
Mongon
first
Sumo.
place
Mongon
with a
Sumo.
Mongon Sumo.
Very attainable. That's a little bit of a rough hand to do it, but I mean, one of the nice positions about being in this spot in South 4 is you can let the dealer get a hand, and as long as if you Mongon Sumo, you go past the dealer and dealer Sumos, or even direct hit somebody else, then it's the same end state for you. So you
Yeah,
have a
so
hand to play with. Yeah, Christine's trying to
wants
shut
none
that
of
down
this.
though. Yeah, Christine's like, nope, I got double Yakuai in hand. I got a dirty little 9P to call and a Ramen to play with. I'm shutting it down. We're calling it off. No repeats, no nothing. This South 4 is going to be the only South 4 for this game.
There are still a couple of clunky shapes, so there could be some. You can't. You're in the lead. There's no reason to.
You can't until it's Rinshan chance, and then it's super real, actually. Because think about it. What if green comes up in the wall, of which there's
Oh
2 for
my
us to be seeing?
gosh.
Do it. You gotta. Who cares? Oh, never mind. Christine's smarter than me. I would be lost in the sauce right now. I'd say, you know what? What's the worst that can happen? And then deal into a Hanemon.
That's a chi. Yep, drop this out.
Yeah, you
Drop
gotta
the
take
2. You're
that.
good.
Oh, there's 2 souths to be drawn to, and 2 9s. This game's so over unless Chris can hit this white like this turn.
Oh, that's
That might just do it. Oh!
What?
Oh, Andrew has to play something crazy. I think we're looking at Cheetoy. That
And
must
that's
be
the
it.
only reason he's safe.
Oh, Otozuke! Otozuke on the white, but it's such a wide weight. You're so close to going at free 10 everywhere around. It's so bad. Oh, this is insane. There's still 2 whites in the wall. Does this help you? No. That does nothing for you. Yeah. You're not in furry 10. That's the nice part about that. God, you can't even, like, drop double white into something,
Yeet.
too.
Oh
Oh,
my
we
god!
got the cheat
The other
We're waiting
9?
on the 6 on the door. Okay, all of a sudden, we got ourselves a game. Hold on. Oh, Chris is checking. No fear. Chris can swap with
Where's
Andrew.
South?
This is actually so
Where the heck
dangerous.
is the South?
Where's the South? There's 1-6. Both the 9s are dead. Where are the whites? Chris is Dama Otozuke on him. Oh, we could see 8-7 here. Aw, Christine's going for it. I don't know about that.
Yeah,
I
it's
think you
not
back off
necessary. Like,
there. Oh! Oh, it's furry 10. I forgot.
it's
We're
already
Otozuke.
because they need the Haku. They need
We're
the Haku.
Otozuke.
It's
Like, ah!
there's a
Ah,
There's
don't
no
do
way.
it! There's
Stanley's
none on the
not
board.
discarding this.
There's none on the
Stanley
board as I
can't
have.
discard
Okay,
this.
good read, Stanley. Let's go. Oh, the 6! You can't push that. There's no way. You gotta drop 8, 9. Oh, okay. Okay. Oh my god, Stanley Chu double south!
Go.
The Haku
I
drops!
love the Haku.
Oh my god. That was wild. All that
That's
for 1500 to end.
That's nuts. And now Chris is over 30,000. Which
Yeah,
means
Chris
that
is
they'll
gonna go
finish
winner.
right now as it stands with a 0.1. But it's
Yeah,
still
but I mean,
positive.
here's the problem. Any sumo knocks you down out of that. You want at least one more hand before you feel comfortable kind of folding out. You want to get to
yeah,
at
and I
least
mean,
like 5k up, so even Ryukyoku.
And this hand will looks like an easy 1500, possibly 29 if you do
29
end
if
up
you can hit the
getting that
Dora.
Tumon.
Yeah. Question is, do you go Otozuke for it again if Tumon comes out right away? It worked well for you last hand, but it was really close to working very badly.
It was rough.
It was a dangerous game.
I think I'm sure Chris will wait, hoping that the tune comes out somewhere in the first row, and then we'll probably just make an executive decision later.
Yeah, I mean, you can always play it as the pair and then back off if you really need to, or just kind of work your hand towards a Shabo end wait. Even if you sacrifice the Dora, especially if you can get chance for Chun Yakuai, it's like basically the same thing if it's not out already.
I was looking at Andrew's hand and going like, was he going for like a? It wasn't a Kokushi because you discarded the 9-pin, so I'm like, I'm not sure what the angle is here.
Yeah, that 9 would have been so good right now. You have Sanshoku Chanta options. Kokushi
Well, I
would
mean,
still
you
be
would have
alive.
a 1-2. I mean, it's still
be getting
distant, but I mean, like, considering where your point situation is, there was. I mean,
It's not a bad out. Yeah, it's not a bad out at all. And we are still beyond Shanten right now. Oh, second chance exists. I think you drop 3 mon here no matter what. Ah, no, not that.
Yeah, I just don't know what you're trying to do here then in that case.
I mean, I guess there's the avoid dealing and hope somebody else lays in. But it's so tough from where you're at. Oh my god, Chris Civilian. You gotta drop 3 mon here, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Who cares if you hit 2? I mean, actually, I guess that means that 7 mon was probably better. Just if you hit 2 mon, you're able to keep the Dora, reach with a 1 mon drop on 4-7. Not the best, but it's something.
And here's the other thing too, if you're Andrew, like if your hand sucks, your hope is basically to possibly get another chance at it and have dealer win, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's still rather bleak if you're trying to catch up at this point because you are 20,000 points adrift. But if your plan is to try to wait till next hand, you have to find a way to feed dealer somehow. And in the meantime, Christine again is looking to shut this down on a 4-7 pin weight.
Yeah, it's not the worst, but it's not great. Still 1 red to be drawn too. Luckily, Chris has options to play around it. Knows Christine's playing Tanyao. And that's why we see the double 1 mon come out and then the 9p cut. Oh, we draw those.
Doesn't matter.
We draw those. And Christine shuts the
So
board down.
Christine will definitely help her again. Help her win percentage here. Gets her second win of the season here with a plus 30.5. Stanley, after probably what seemed like another promising start, I mean, sure, he'll certainly take his first, second of the season, but was kind of hoping for more.
Yeah.
Chris ends up in third, just barely, like we were mentioning. That sumo kind of knocked him under 30, so you go from a plus 0.1 to a minus 5.5. And then, unfortunate for Andrew there, taking was that Andrew? Yeah, taking the fourth.
Yeah. Minus 34.5. Definitely not a hit you want.
There's still chances. I mean, we're looking at it here. The cut line to stay in B2 is at negative 66.3. So
Mm-hmm.
certainly, like we don't really see that huge drop off sometimes that we've seen in the standings, where it is just seems like it's out of reach. So
Yeah, everybody's only like
it
one
hurts.
first from it.
It kind of it hurts a bit, but again, this is game 1 of 4, so
It's game 1 of 4. You still have
certainly
2 sessions after it, too. You got plenty of time to play around.
plenty of time.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how that cut line changes throughout, just because, I mean, obviously, as it gets later and later in the season, people are going to play riskier when they need more points. And, they have a chance to rebound up, but also a chance to slip further down. So I'm wondering if it's going to kind of hover and stay around 66, or if it might even, you might get a little bit more buffer room, if it might switch to like 80 for the
Here's the thing,
demotion
right?
zone. Mm-hmm.
First of all, we do see like a big gap. I think it was mentioned in the mid-season review show
Mm-hmm.
that between Charlie G and Chris L, there is actually a pretty big gap of like 56 points roughly.
Yes.
And remember that this B2 division right now has the people that were in B2 or who got demoted from B1, plus all the people who were in the lowest division in B3 who
A
got
lot of
promoted.
B3 upgraders, yep.
And there's a lot of B3 people who, when that means that they entered into this league last season, so they're not necessarily a B3 player and they're not necessarily a B2 player, and that might be the reason why we see some of this kind of divide, as it were, between the positives and the negatives. So
See such a
I think
split.
then in that case it is possible then that there will be a mad scramble right around that cut line as people just kind of try to claw themselves up at least just higher than the person next to them, to avoid the demotion into B3. You're probably right in that sense, I think. And this might be one of the few divisions that you'll actually see that in, because of the fact that it is the division right above
Mm-hmm.
the lowest division. Now that will change next season, because next season we will have a C1 division.
Yeah. A little
So
bit more buffer room.
B3 will become kind of, might look like what you see here, but for the people here this season, you'll probably see, like I said, a battle for the top and a battle for the bottom.
Yeah, I
Um,
think really interestingly too, like in B3 last division, all the games, there was like maybe 4 or 5 of us, all very close around the promotion range with like 2 spots. And so everybody was trying to fight to promote, right? But they had no risk of demotion. I wonder psychologically how different it is just to play to avoid that demotion, even in a similar scenario.
well, and here's the other thing too. The reason why I even think that this might be the case even further is
Mm-hmm.
that if you looked at where the divide is, right, where all the negative scores are, if you pretended that that was the top of the division, and you looked at the call rates there, and you looked at the call rates on the top half of the division that were all the positive scores, the people with the higher call rates were at the top of those respective halves. So people who had the higher call rates and the positives were sitting at the top of the positive
Mm,
section, and the people with the higher call rates in the negative section were actually in at the top of the negative section.
yeah, especially
So
EVs too. Like your boy the GOAT with the highest EV in B2 until I deal in 20 times in my games this session, hovering at 1199 because I'm on commentary I got to brag a little bit, you know. gotta show off just a bit.
while it lasts, No.
Oh no, no, it's going. When it goes, who knows? But that's why I gotta revel in it while it's still a thing. We got some interesting
Alrighty
high
here.
buys around the table though. That you know what I like about Chris's hand right now?
Hmm.
Basically nothing. This hand is terrible. This hand is
I was
so
wondering
bad.
where you were going
This
with
hand
that
is
'cause I'm
so
like,
bad. I don't even like the 1, 2, 3 draw because now you're thinking about Sanshoku, but you still need like 4 parts for it. And then like Shanta's even terrible because you have 4, 5, and 6, 8. There's just nothing going right here. Your best out is like drawing the green pair and then just hoping you can call and go.
yeah, and unfortunately, Andrew across the way has a hand that's much more workable.
Yeah.
And actually, to your left, Stanley has a hand that actually everybody has a hand that's much more workable, except for maybe Christine.
Yeah, I mean Christine's is tough. You get a Conchon filling, like you hit that 7 mon or that 4 pin early, you're looking a lot better. Maybe even 7 you can fall back on the whites. Although Christine did just pass up a white call. I
I
actually
think
really
it's
don't
because
hate
as
that.
you I think it's because as you said, like the rest of the hand just looks there's so much discombobulation between the rest of the other tiles that calling the Haku, it's like, okay, well, I've
Does
got my
nothing for you.
Yakuhai,
You're still like
but I've
3
got nothing
away
else.
afterwards, right?
Right, and there's also something to be argued about that you just kind of with a hand that bad. I think Korak would also say that like if you're going to go for it, that you might as well just call the Haku anyways because you're just going to get confirmed your Yakuhai and just figure it out later.
Yeah, I
Because
mean,
if you pass it, then like, what are you really going to do now?
with one open, you can still kind of play defensive, but like also if you pass it, you have the whites to fold out as a pair later, and you'd never know. You could hit the second, like you could fill in a couple of times and then have the second one offered, and then only be like Ishan 10 afterwards and be like, you know what, I want to call it. Although Christina's been
You'll
pushing big value hands tonight, so I wouldn't even be surprised if she just doesn't even want to risk it over the 1K hand or the
because
2K
here's
hand
the
with the Dora.
because I think the whole argument on Korak's side, and I agree with this, and that's the reason why my call rate's also relatively high, is that your margin of error of trying to get this hand completed at all is probably pretty low. And so
Mm-hmm.
passing up anything just means that you're actually taking a big percentage of that whatever little you had already and taking it out.
Chopping it even more, yeah.
Yep.
Each.
Now,
Oh,
admittedly, you need to find some path, but
yeah, you can always just play to fold out later. You're not loving
so
it,
this
but
is
something.
wait,
That's
this is
furry 10.
furry 10.
You know what? as you might know, and anybody else who comes in the late night streams in the Discord, I think that was I see the reach button, smack it, and lay down my tile, and then see the furry 10 indicator and go, oh my god, I misread my weight. And now I gotta sit here and furry 10. I feel terrible. What
Yeah.
am I gonna do?
Gee.
Why is 6 lighting up? Oh, I didn't even see Stanley got Tempai. It must have been right after that 6-0 was dropped.
Reach.
Yep, it's Dama Ipeiko, but with that Ricci, I think he's just decided, you know what? I'm
Might
just
as
gonna
well chase.
go for this.
You see a door
And
open up across
this is
from you.
bad for
No
Andrew
Knights
now
O's.
because with his only opportunity
His
being
hand
to
is crazy.
sumo this.
Oh, that's a reach. No! Oh my god, Chris is insane. You have to pawn that. You literally have to if you're going to make that call. You got to pawn that, face check the 5. No, Chris! Oh my god, don't drop that 6. Okay. They had the chance to reach on 3-6 which actually was pretty decent, minus the 3-3 that are hidden in Andrew's hand. But they're feeling greedy. Uh-oh.
Right, the 4 doesn't deal in, and so wow, okay.
I mean, I think if you're Chris there, you got to just take that call and run with it. Like, you're not trying to play closed. If you're, it's Shinizu's dealer. You get the Tempai off that, I'm pretty sure, unless I miscalculated.
I'm trying
Especially
to
if you're
think
gonna
whether or not
reach.
they thought there was a dangerous tile somewhere along the line.
I
I don't
mean,
know.
I think if you took that pawn, I think you drop like 5 and you have a bunch of 3s, a bunch of 4, and a bunch of 4s, all the 9s, and a bunch of 3s. I think that's good enough. I think you have enough safety around it that you're willing to play into the reach. Even though it is around the Dora. Ooh, and Christine plays standard. We love to see it. No Chitoy in this household. Or on this table.
So Chris is just like, so Chris passes up the possible was it Chinitsu, had Sananko as well. And now it looks like Andrew's going to go for the Yakuhai only now.
I mean, I don't hate it. It's still close.
Oh,
Advance the
Dora.
game.
Dora.
Get to your dealership. Either way,
Yeah.
I mean, it's a quick hand. Catches people off guards. You do have an upgrade if you draw 9 Mon to also hit Shanta if you run on the 1 Mon. Get yourself a little bit more points. It's not terrible.
Except the 2 9 Mons are sitting in Stanley's hand, so that's a
yeah,
no-go.
but you don't know that. You could figure it out later, you know.
Yeah, Chris is good. Might be Chris is probably lucky that they have the 1/3 Kanchan, because otherwise that 1 Mon might have come out.
Ooh. Ishanten for Stanley too. Looking for probably a pawn on 9 Mon, 17 or 4 so.
Yeah, you don't want the Shanpon wake here unless your Shanpon includes the 9 Mon.
I mean, here's the thing. If you get 4 or 7 offered to you, do you just kind of snap call it since you already have the Yaku in hand? Just try to advance play?
I because they're central tiles, I certainly would, because I would not feel comfortable waiting on one of those two just because they are central. And it's like, you know, how they talk about it. They talk about, you know, like a class C weight or whatever it is with a 4/7.
Such a good Granmen upgrade. Oh my goodness. That is so good. Oh,
passes up
rewarded
the
for the
chi, gets
patience.
paid off.
Now we got ourselves a weight 9/4 Shabo. Still 1/4 Mon too. Andrew's waiting on.
My God.
We fought Sumo. Oh, I didn't even notice. Apparently a Suji trap too. And
there's the
Ura for, you know.
Actually, it didn't
just
matter.
Goes. Yeah.
It would be 30.
It's the BM Ura. It lets people know that you're float up, so back off when I place a stick on the table.
And then look at that high pie for Stanley. What the heck?
Okay, well apparently I think that's one of those that misleadingly looks a lot better than it is. Oh, okay, unless you just open up with 7. Unless you open up with the best inside hit you could possibly get. Jesus. The only better thing is like a Sanshoku playoff.
Dora 1 at least. I mean, if you're thinking big, I would discard the 4 Mon on turn 2 just cause.
Yeah, get the 4 Mon out of there. If you could get Sanshoku out of this too, I don't hate just dropping double red, dropping a west.
The East? What's the 4 Mon gonna do for you? You have Dora.
Yeah, I think 4 Mon cut here is worth. I get kind of playing the like chance and just playing the quick hand out if you're Stanley. Which, honestly, knowing Stanley, that's probably exactly the thought behind it. Just play the absolute quickest hand. You're in first. You want to advance the game. You still haven't had your dealership. Let's just go to the races. Although, if you drop 4 Mon like right away, then come on. At least drop like 2 Peen or something first.
Well, no, I think at this point, you know, especially if they draw around the 2 pin or something like that, you might entertain. You might even forego the Dora and just go for the Honitsu, but. Man. I think Stanley's just.
This is so hard out of this.
I'm just saying if they drew more Pinzu, but they didn't. Man. So.
Yeah, I guess if you hit like 3P or something, you actually have a pretty nice segue into it. Ooh.
So this is just Yakuhai. This will be Yakuhai Dora 2.
But if you can draw the 1 so, then all of a sudden you're cooking.
Yeah, Yakuhai Chanta Dora 2 would be a Mangan, so we're looking at hopefully an upgrade from 3,900 to 8,000. If they can find the 1 so, which there are 2 left on the wall.
Ooh, that's an interesting drop from Christine. Christine is going to need to drop 6/8 Mon, but then is waiting on 1/4, 1/4. Could have potentially kept that 1 Peen too, hoping to draw a 2 Peen, upgrade to a Sanshoku past that, although you could also just hit 2, 3, 4 Sanshoku.
Stanley definitely looking for value there. Could have taken the 1/4, so wait, doesn't, and gets rewarded with that sumo.
Yeah. So way to do it on a terminal like that. Anybody trying to play quick, go towards Tanya, gonna fall right in your trap, and you can always just draw those. Simple game plan.
Stanley looking to really turn his score around here with
Dora 2 to start
46K.
2. Ooh. You got some
He's gonna need a little
value.
bit of help because there's not enough solidified blocks there to like make something out of it, because the closest thing you can go for right now is maybe a Tanya unless you manage to get the Haku.
Yeah. I mean, but here's the thing, you at least know that 2 Dora are off the table, so someone's gonna have a pretty readable hand for you to be scared of dropping into it otherwise, for the most part. So at least you feel pretty good about not giving up value this hand, even with something slow like this.
Fortunately for him, Christine, who had called the pawn of 3 Mon, is going to be for almost forever Mochi Mochi with Andrew with those Hatsus.
Yeah, it does have a Toy out. 4 Mon's going to be kind of hard to come out. And 1 So will probably be easy. Oh, and now we have all the pieces, though. Mochi Mochi might not matter. Ugly.
Yep.
Gonna be ugly to get 5 Mon and 4 Mon. But then again, if you can get 5 Mon out and then 4 Mon's almost useless, somebody may just toss it trying to play fast and efficient.
Oh, that's okay. So they're definitely committing to this now.
I like that. I personally hate Otozuke just for reasons like this. Pretty much all the time, if I'm gonna go Otozuke, I gotta have a plan B. And it looks like Christine has a similar line of thought, making sure that Toy is an option in the cards, not forcing out to get that green in case it's locked. Especially when you see Chris open up with the Yakuhai too, I think it's the right move.
So I'm trying to look around the table. Stanley's hand finally gets the Haku.
Something.
So there's certainly callable something. There's a callable thing now, and I could imagine the 8 being pawned.
It's gonna be pawn. Drop the 1 first. See where it goes. Actually, you have outs to drop double white too here.
Mm-hmm.
I think you're a little bit worried looking at the rest of the table. You know something's up because there's not a lot of honors dropped, especially in the dragon
You could cheat
department.
this.
But decision time. I think you got to drop 3 Mon here. Yeah.
That backfire really wasn't a backfire, so.
Yeah, but I mean now you still got to work around it. That's the problem. Oh, and Chris doesn't want the Ryanmen that locks in Dora, even though it's Furry 10. Interesting. I was expecting like a double 6 So or something out of it, but I guess not.
Quite sure what the angle would be then. So your angle was to discard the Dora regardless, I guess.
Well, yeah, if you're gonna drop 3 P,
they discarded the 2 earlier. There were Furry 10 issues.
Yeah, but I mean, if you're gonna have the 3 to work around the 4 and you're still not Tenpai off that, I don't hate just committing to it. Stanley also gonna lock in the pair there with the 6 Mon. Make sure the head is secured.
Won't mind being Furry 10 here, I don't think, at this point. Just to take the... If worse comes to worse, just take your Tenpai.
Yeah, a little bit of value goes a long way here in Chris's scenario. Ooh.
Wow, so that gets rewarded. We'll have the Sean Pawn 8 Mon 6 So wait.
Little ugly, but there is actually a ton in the wall. Well, 6 So is held up in hands, but 2-8's still the draw. Yep.
There's one of them. You're saying?
That's what I was thinking. I was like, 2-8's left in the wall. It's getting reps. I think this feels like Chris is gonna draw it.
And for Stanley, this is fine because that's what 1,000 points.
You don't give up any of the value. The game's moving
everybody's
along.
Still under 30.
Mm-hmm.
And you're looking at a plus 35.3 right now if game ended right now. So it'd be a nice gain here. But again, South round still to play. Not Chris's hand is definitely pointing Tanya. So would just unfortunately there's the Kanchan 5-pin 5 so that makes it a little uncomfortable in that sense.
Yeah, but I mean, you're developing it regardless. You got time. Right now, you're just going to drop 9-pin white red in pretty much any scenario and then see what it gives you. The 7 Mon's actually kind of a nice pickup because now you have the option to pawn it, kind of work out one of those Conchons, which I'd imagine is 6-4 so. That way you can work in Dora 7P and get a Ramen out of it. But again, you're just going to play very standard, probably get rid of things that aren't going to fit into a Tanyao, and then call and go when the opportunity is presented to you.
I'm looking around and there's
Not a
a lot
whole
of
lot going
pairs.
on the table,
There's a lot of there's pairs.
Really clunky pairs too.
Home.
Stanley's got the option and does take the South Yakuhai guarantees, so now Stanley's got a little bit of an out. Can call the 9 Mon and the 8 so if desired in either situation. So Stanley got a big speed upgrade there, but it's looking bad for everyone.
Andrew can now
Ooh.
call the Yakuhai with the West, although there's only one left.
Hey, it doesn't even really need to because they're working in Honitsu with that double 8-pin that's about to be dropped. Oh, and Chris also hits that big 7P upgrade as Andrew's punished for the 8P. Yeah, I like getting rid of the white there first. I know you like your safe tile, but like double west is almost guaranteed to be safe and south, so you have a little bit too much safety in the end. And again, if you hit like double 8 or something, it smooths out your hand so much more. Or you can just hit 7 and then get 9-6 upgrade. Silly me, I forgot to look at the wall again. Every time.
Christine's hand has not really improved. That is Ishan 10.
It's a really
I believe. Is it Ishan 10?
weird one. No, I think it's Ranshan
No,
10
it's not.
still.
Yeah.
Still, it's really ugly. Do you go Atazuke
Home.
here on the Hellweight West? Oh, I mean, I guess it's so ugly.
There's only one West left, though.
Yeah, it's really tough.
Home.
God, everyone's hand is just so clunky with pairs. Let
Well,
this be a lesson.
Stanley 147. So this
Well, yeah,
hand can
Stanley gets to
probably
call
finally
it.
end soon enough.
Someone's gonna, although it's not actually, nah, it's pretty good. There's double 1 so in the wall, double 7 so, and a 4 so. So now we're playing the waiting game. And it might even come out right here. Although I'd imagine 8 so comes first. Or AP, fair enough. 5, you don't care. Stanley's locked and loaded.
7.
Now here's the problem. Chris is forced to get rid of a pair, does so. Yeah, 1 so is probably coming out.
So dealing.
No.
Got the sense of danger. It's nothing though. It's just 1K. Not
It's
a big
1K,
deal.
but like again, Stanley moves the game along. Everybody's still under 30.
Oh, yeah.
And
If you're Andrew, not the best thing in the world, but you're not hurting too bad. If you're Stanley, you're loving that. Game's moving along real quick. Nobody's getting big points. You're kind of keeping the table low value and trying to encourage people to play speedy, cheap hands. God, clunker of a high pie from Christine.
it's kind of clunker from everybody, really. I mean,
Yeah, there have been
maybe
some bad
maybe Chris's
high
hand
fives.
is has the
Chris's
one
hand
that shows
has
the
some-
most promise.
Have some good feelings. You got 2 draws that are going to make themselves, and then you can play around it. Oh, that's a big upgrade to Conchon for Christine there. Going to hit 8-pin. Lock in that door at 9-pin. And if you draw another 8-pin, then all of a sudden you got a 6-9 Ramen you're waiting on, and your hand is actually looking pretty good. Could even try to move towards like a Junchan at that point. I honestly wouldn't even be surprised if Christine, with an 8-pin drop, decides to open up and hard commit to Junchan with a hand like this.
Speaking of, well, I think the 8 so there really helps.
Yeah, that 8 so is a big helper too. Don't have to like
But-
take a Shabo with a once cut 9.
Well, and the other thing is if she does get the 6 pin, I mean, you won't necessarily like it, but you'll certainly take it.
Oh yeah, if you can get it while you're closed like this, reach out 1-4, you get Pimpu out of it, you're totally fine. You'd
Mhm.
like the option to open, but I mean, if the hand is going to get to 10-5 without it, why wait? Only problem is we got a 5-8 so wait, or 5-8 Mon wait from Stanley. Absolute killer of a hand. It's going to push Christine back just a little bit. Force you to check a very dangerous tile, one way or
Yeah.
another.
1 on isn't exactly the safest. Oh.
Yeah, this is
uh,
tough. What do you
uh,
do if you're Christine? I don't hate 3-so there. If I'm looking at this,
yeah.
I'm thinking not Monzu, but I don't know what else I'm thinking. God, even Chris has a tough fold out. Everyone's hands are just so bad right now. Everyone doesn't even
It's
have good Mawashi outs.
Yeah, the only thing is you don't want to be the person that necessarily deals into Stanley, because with the 3 of you, everybody other than Stanley close to each other,
The points matter so much.
you really don't want to disadvantage yourself any further by dealing in, because you want to finish second and you want to still have a shot at hitting 30,000.
Yeah. Double 1-1 comes out. Yep, and Christine gonna take the select and just fold out double 1-1. Don't hit that whatsoever.
Basically, you could have discarded like 8-so and then probably the 9-so. And
I mean,
you
I
could have
think
left open the
9-so
opportunity for
safe.
Chitoy. Because if you had kept the 1 Mon, you could have discarded the 8, discarded the 9, and technically you're Ishan 10 for Chitoy, and you haven't really played aggressive in this hand still.
Counterpoint, Christine's a Chitoy hater and is subjectively right because Chitoy sucks. So they can also just play Ipeko and drop 9-so. Oh.
How many pairs has she drawn at this point? That she would have
Listen, we're not
had?
going to talk about it. Well, you could have also just had South Yakuhai by that logic, by that straw man argument. So we're going to spin around in circles all day playing like that, which is why we should just never play Chitoy and go about our hands. Oh, wait, 7P was safe. I missed that cut. They've got 9P too to check. Christine might be able to get Tenpai here. Although it is going to need a little bit of help from Chris.
Cal, it's not happening.
Yeah, I can't imagine Chris dropping too much here. Except for maybe 1-so, but the draw is not there. That left an open option. That left about the same option. Gonna be able to call 6 or 5-so. Nope. Wow, Stanley's raking it in this game. I don't think this can go any better for Stanley, if I'm being real.
Yep, and they also have last dealership, so
exactly.
They could either put the pedal to the metal if they have a good hand, or just say, you know what, I'll just be no 10 here. If I pay 3,000, I pay 3,000 in no 10 payments, and I'll just take my 45-3 and go home.
I think if you're Stanley going into South 4, if everybody else is under 30 and they have to get more than a 2K hand to go above it, you aim to make that the last hand and just throw Tenpai and Ryukoku worst comes to worst. And
that's what I said. You just give away 3,000 points maybe if everybody's Tenpai.
But I think I think if someone gets to 2K, like maybe Christine hits a Mongon here, then you want to play a bit aggressive for a hand or two. Or if you're Stanley, you just build a Shinizu and start to get close to that and apparently rake in more points, as we're seeing.
It's going to be a little hard because there are Pinzu littered about everybody else's hands, especially Christine's. Especially in the middle side of those Pinzu, because she's sitting with a 4, 5, 6, 7, 7, 8, 8. So it's going to be a little harder, I think, maybe for Stanley to actualize that Chinitsu. I'm not saying it's impossible.
I mean, you got some nice calls out of it. 1-peen looks pretty good. 9-peen doesn't look terrible to call. You have some good inside shape right now. Your Ishan 10, and if you call 9-peen, you get to Tonki on something, although 9-peen's a 1 chance at the moment.
The only issue is that, like, the 1-pin call, you see only the 9-pin's been discarded. And again, with everything so close, can you really imagine somebody discarding a Pinzu here?
Well, here's the thing that I actually believe in fully too, that Stanley might be playing as. Even if everybody knows it's dangerous, if you just want everybody to throw their hands or push into you, then who cares if they know it's dangerous? They either have to push and risk
I completely
going
understand.
or...
I completely understand that, yeah. I'm just saying that if you wanted to actually actualize that Chinitsu, it's probably near impossible.
Yep.
Hatsu goes
Okay.
first. Yeah.
We got the safety. Could see it come out or could see it backed up. Christine's got some decisions to make. Is going to check the 9 for the Shabo.
ポン
Stanley
Okay,
is
that'll
going to
do
see
it.
it and then deal in. I don't think it's... No, that's Dora, yeah.
One Ura
And
makes it
it's the Ura
8,000.
for the Mongon with 2 sticks too. Oof.
So that's really not an 8,300 point hit. That's actually a 13,300 point hit because they've now gone from a plus 20 Uma to just the plus 15.
Yeah,
So-
siding Uma.
And not only that, but Chris isn't really that far away from Stanley right now.
Yeah, right. You need what? 3 Han sumo? I think any 3 Han sumo, even Pinfu will do it.
Yeah, pretty much. Well, actually, a sumo 2,000, 1,000 would be enough because that's a swing of 6,000 because of dealer penalty.
Mm,
So that would put like a sumo 3 on hand. It would put it with like a 330 would be would put Stanley at 38, and then would put it Chris at 38.9. So
jeez, yeah.
doesn't really take a whole lot here for Chris to kind of pull this out of the fire. If anybody had watched M League last night, that's exactly what Murakami Jun did for the Asakusa Drivens, and he finally got his first win of the season as a result of it, winning by 100 points. 100.
That's a good win though. You're happy about that.
Well, I mean, especially since you've been bagel the entire season, I felt
Yeah,
bad for him
right.
just because he's been working hard and just hadn't caught a break, and finally gets his first win, and everybody's happy. Like his whole teammates were just about as emotional as he could get for him because it's just been a slog.
Wow, this is a really tough position from Chris. Because look at that hand. You almost have no... You need more. You're only looking at Rishitanya right now. Even if you
If
hit...
you get the if you get the 3
Direct
on
is
his
not enough.
Pinfu, if you get 3
Yeah.
on his Pinfu,
But if you
So
hit
that's the
anything
plan.
else, then where do you go? You know what I mean?
yeah,
You're risking Furry 10 left and right. I mean, I guess if you reach on the 3 Mon, you just hope to back everybody off and then sumo. Oh, that's your other out. Drop 2 Mon.
リーチ
No! What? Wait, is that reach Tanyao? You get to 40 Fu, so I think you still need sumo, right?
you
I don't think
need either
240 is
sumo
enough.
or you need an Ura.
I hate waiting on Ura personally. I'm not an Ura fan, an Ura enjoyer. Especially in a situation like this, I'd much rather get sumo. Oh, and would have had, I think, a Chimney, right? They would have waited 2 turns? Or would have had a Shabo?
Well, if they waited a turn, it would have been a
Huh.
Shabo 4
Oh!
Oh my god!
That's where the extra came from! No Ura, but with Rinchon, that's the 4th.
I can just imagine Stanley saying, "I did everything.
Oh,
I did
man.
everything I was supposed to do, and I get beaten out by Reed
Yeah,
from Kaiho."
it's such an awful high pie for Stanley, too. There was, like, so little you could do with that hand other than pray.
Oh my god!
Oh, my goodness.
So, out of nowhere, in the final 2 hands, Chris goes from I don't remember where he was, but he was basically under 30 and
Chris was like
in
20,
a battle for trying to avoid
25,
lost.
and then again, Stanley threw that Dora, said, we'll check it, we'll see. Paid a Mongon in, and then all Chris had to do was get a decent hand. Had to get Rinchon for it, but...
Get 3 and 30, and
yeah.
well, if it was sumo, it would have been fine, but like everything else was just like icing on the cake, or however you want to call it.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Okay. So Chris gets the first place there, moves him out of demotion range. Stanley with the second place gets a marginal bump.
Yeah, Chris is doing good right now. I don't
I
believe
don't
these
think the
are
standing at least
updated. No,
updated yet.
they're working on it. They're trying hard. Sometimes it takes a minute, you know. But looking at the stands, we got Chris plus 27.9. So Chris is now, I believe, minus like 8.1, 9.1. So
Yeah, so
Chris is
they're
really
trying to
close
take
to
the leap up
even.
into the positive territory now and join everybody else.
Christine is very close to demotion. She's around 86. Andrew drops even further too. Andrew had a rough day today.
Yeah.
Andrew's going towards the bottom, and Stanley picked up 11 points, which
But
matters,
that
but you
means
really wanted the first
he
with
had
it.
more. He really had more. He's just like I was literally this close to having more.
Yeah.
Oh, but kind of so goes the slog when you're kind of in the battle of the masses, trying to kind of jump over each other. So, let's see if we can get this updated before we get out for the
Yeah.
night.
I'm trying to. Hold on one sec. Let me put it to this screen really quick. I'll refresh on the document, see if we can get that fixed. What are we feeling now? Okay, looks like we got it updated. So now if I click this button or go to this, bam, there we go. Now we got updated standings on at least one of the pages.
Okay, so we are hearing from just Stanley quickly here that there was a misclick along the way. So not quite sure where, but that might have been part of the reason why we had it ended
Yeah,
up
that might have been a
that way.
misclick on the Dora. That I'm telling you, the most evil thing about Tenho is the fact that double clicking the discard is a setting that's on by default. So many good hands and safe plays lost to that setting that should just be disabled.
Well, for me, usually when it comes to playing Tenho, it's the right click, and I disable that
That
because
too.
sometimes I have a twitch finger,
I
and
disabled all of it. I don't want to mess with any of it. I want to click a tile to discard it or have the timer do it for me. Nothing else.
yeah, that's like what might have happened there. But at least there's definitely been some promise in the last two games there for Stanley that they can take it into their last two games and convert those into and convert those games in the end and finish them out.
Yeah, still very, very volatile for it. It looks like the lines moved down to, we're looking, again, maybe hovering around the 80s for promotion, demotion slots. Still a lot of games
Yep.
to play, but we're thinking here and there. We're really starting to look in debate. But I think that's going to do it for us tonight, right? No more games?
Yep. This was a pretty slow Tuesday with just
Oh,
one game in session. So
wait. Oh, wait, never mind. I thought they had another one started. I just didn't
no,
refresh the
no, no. They have
message. Nope.
yeah, they'll be playing in a couple of days here. So that might be caught up in another broadcast. Although with the midseason review show yesterday, the championship today, and then our normal Wednesday broadcast where you guys will be covering games slash doing logs and stuff like that.
Yeah,
I don't know if we'll go for 4 days in a row, so we might not see the back end of this, but
we'll see. But lot of good stuff
still
this
a
week.
lot of broadcasts for you guys, for all of you guys here to watch. So once again, as kind of mentioned before in the other broadcast, you can follow us at American Ricci. If you want to sign up for the next season, the spring season, which starts in April, it's AmericanRicci.org. And if you want to watch any of our past broadcasts, including the first two games of the 2022 championship, you can go to tinyurl.com/ARMLYT.
Yeah, make sure you catch up while you can, because let me tell you, there ain't going to be no dopamine hit like watching those live, especially with what we saw today. It is going to be a good latter half of the series. I can tell you that much.
Yep. So with that being said, thank you everyone who stuck around to watch the B2 matchup. I am Edwin. Harrison was on the controls and in the booth.
Yo, yo, yo. Out from the cupboard into
And
the pan.
and he'll be back. I'm pretty sure he'll be back tomorrow for the Wednesday
Yes,
broadcast.
I
Right?
will be back. Don't know if I will be on double duty like today, but I will at least be on commentary because I have been
I think
goosing.
I think Nathaniel will give you a break there and allow you to just wheel and deal with the commentating tomorrow. So
Yeah, but either way, tune in. It's going to be a fun Wednesday, just like every Wednesday. Got a whole ton of games lined up, and it is going to be a great time.
all right, have a good night, everyone.
Everyone, take care. Thanks for watching.